Hi guys, Rachel here with the Cackling Moon. I want to talk to you about the Albano Waite Tarot. Okay. Please don't mind my wet looking lips. They're really chapped because it's been so windy and just dry. And my skin's been dry and it's just been like, I've been a hot mess. So please don't mind. I put Vaseline on my lips. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the Albano Waite Tarot. I had to look back on my purchases on both eBay and Amazon because I couldn't remember which year and which platform I bought this deck from. So I bought the Albano Waite off of Amazon back in 2015. And then I remember I bought a second copy in 2016. Now, the 2015 copy was described as a used 1960s copy of the deck, right? So I was under the influence that it was the old vintage Albano Waite version. And then when a year later, when I bought another copy of the Albano Waite, I actually I actually got the more modern version, which was very plasticky and it was very glossy and plasticky. And I ended up rehoming it to somebody. I think it was like back in my Tumblr days. And I remember I advertised that I had the Albano Waite, and I don't even think I sold it to the person. I think I just gave it to them. But it was very plasticky, like really glossy, super high gloss cardstock, and it just was really awful. And I was just like, no, thank you. So the reason of this video is because I was going through old comments on my YouTube channel, and sometimes there's like comments that come up that I miss, or people will comment on a video that I filmed like months or years ago, and when I go to that video to respond to their comment, I'll see other ones that I've missed. So someone had asked if my Albano Waite deck was the original vintage 1960s version, or was mine the more updated reprint that US Games did in the 90s, I believe. And I think in the comment that I responded, I had said that I wasn't sure, but I'm pretty sure it was the vintage copy. Of course, we all want the vintage copy, right? Well, now that I'm like a little bit more well-versed in the tarot collectible world, I was very curious to really find out if my copy was the legit version. This love for this experience came from watching YouTube videos of other readers who collect Rider-Waite-Smith decks, and how they can tell, you can like just by looking at the box and all of that, which edition you have, and like the uncopyrighted version and the, you know, all the copyrights and all of that wonderful stuff. So I was inspired to look up about the Albano Waite. Now, when I bought this deck used, it did not come in a box. It was just the deck, and I paid $15. That's what it came up as on Amazon. Now, mind you, this was back in 2015, okay? I started my tarot journey in 2012. So I was 3 years in to reading the cards, and not much of a tarot collector. I really had mainly like, you know, like mass-produced decks in my collection. I wasn't out there buying like old out-of-print decks. Not yet anyway. I think I really got into this like just a couple years ago. So, so I was still very new to buying, you know, an older deck, and I didn't really know much about Albano Waite. And so The advertisement for the deck, I remember it was a woman that sold it to me, and it was a used copy, and it didn't come with a box. And so I thought I was under the influence. I'm pretty sure it didn't come with a box. I remember there was a piece of hair in the deck when I opened it, but I don't think it came with a box. But then again, you guys, my dumbass, like I've thrown out boxes when I put the decks in deck bags. This was way back in the past. Sorry, I have like a stain here and it's like bothering me, but it's not, it's just like an old oil stain. Anyways, so I would throw out the boxes and just keep the decks in the deck bags, and now I kick myself for it every single time because I'm just like, why? So anyways, I think it did not come with the box, but I don't know. I have to like look back on old videos when I was talking about Albano Waite and see if I mention it. So anyways, so I looked up videos on YouTube, and I actually found there's a woman, I believe she goes by the Mindful Tarot. I think that's what she goes by. I'm gonna link her video in the description box. Hopefully I can find it again, because she went into detail about the Albano Waite. She actually has the 1960s version and the more mass-produced one and all of that. So she knows a bit more about it. And so I'll have to link her video so you guys can watch it, because just in case you're just like me and you want to know, is my deck real? Obviously, if you had the box, you would be able to know because you could see the publishing and all of that, and you know, obviously you would be able to know. But if you're like me and you either threw it out or you don't have it, we got to resort to other means, right? So I was really taking a closer look at my deck while I was watching her video, because she talks about the distinctive colors of the court cards and the fact that the 1960s version versus the mass-produced US Games version in the 90s, the coloring is very different. So one thing that she pointed out was that the Pentacles suits in the reprint they come out gray, and in the 1960s version they're more of a lavender color. And so I was looking at mine, and as you can see, there's different colors. Like this one, this King of Pentacles, is much darker than the others. And that was one common thing that I found with this deck, mine in particular, is I believe I have some cards from the 1960s and then some cards from the 90s. Now, this will happen when you have a used deck of cards, and you can often replace missing cards or damaged cards by ordering it through US Games, or if you search on eBay, you can find it. Now, I actually bought, I remember specifically, it was the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords came really damaged in the deck when I bought it. So I specifically remember buying a replacement card for the Nine of Swords for the Albano Waite. And I also specifically remember buying a Knight of Wands. So I remembered that, and I have the trail to prove it on eBay. But when I was looking at the cards, this Knight of Wands, his background is way different from the other court cards in the Wands suit. So let me find it and show you guys, because this is only going to prove my point about me saying that I really believe that I have a mix. Oh, and I remember I also bought a moon. I couldn't find it though, but I remember the moon had a blue sky and this one is purple. And I think this is the mass-produced one, whereas the original was the blue sky. So there was a lot of color differences in the prints, but oh, I'm sad to say I believe my deck is the reprint. It's not the original. except for a couple cards are the original. And I'm going to prove it right now. Okay, so these are the court cards for the wands. Oops, that's a cup. Where is my queen? I want to make sure I have them all to show you guys. Okay, here she is. So these are the court cards for the wands, the king, the page, and the queen, right? Well, the card that I had to get replaced because it was missing or damaged, I forget, is the Knight of Wands. Look at the sky difference and the color in the red, right? Right off the bat, you could see the difference. He is so much darker and so much more vibrant than these other guys. Even in the mountains, like the Queen of Wands, look at the mountains in her background. They're more purple. His are darker purple or an indigo color. So obviously something isn't right here. You can even tell just by looking at the quality of the print. My Queen of Wands and my Knight, the Knight, the lines, the line work in him they're just much more darker and like you could see the detail, whereas my Queen of Wands looks a little bit washed out, right? So that's one difference. The other difference is, and I never noticed this before, the backs. I don't know if it's gonna show up on camera, but this is the Knight of Wands. The 1960s version, the backs are a little bit creamier than the reprint, which are white or an off-white. Like this is more of an eggshell, and then this one is definitely like a cream vanilla. It's not white. Can you see the difference? And then the sun in the background of the card in the mass-produced, like the US Games reprint, it's right in the middle. And it's like that for all of my other ones, right in the middle. And the 1960s, it's off-centered. See that? And I have other cards to prove it. So this was the other card. This was the 9 of Swords. This is the other one that I got replaced. It's off-centered, just like the Knight of Wands versus my other ones. And the other ones that I replaced were, or I noticed too, these two were also from the deck, the original, because the same thing is the off center of the sun. And then my Queen of Swords, she's from the original 1960s. Look at the sword suits in the reprint. She's so much more pale than these guys. Look at how vibrant and yellow they are compared to her, right? And then the sky, she's like a pale blue and they're more blue, 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 blue. You could just totally see the difference. And so I'm bummed. I'm bummed because the majority, like this was the other one. This was the 1960s. It's off-centered. Because this was another replacement I got. Let me see if let me pull out some of the pentacles. So let's see if we could see any differences in the pentacles. So those are the pentacles, and then here's the other one. It's kind of, I don't think you could see much of a difference there. The greens are pretty much the same, but you could totally tell by the backs, the card backs. So I'm a little bummed, I'm gonna admit, because all this time I thought I had an original, but at the same time it's still a vintage because it was a reprint from the 90s. It doesn't mean that my deck is fake. It's just, it's not the original 60s deck, you know? So that was kind of like, oh, okay. Okay. And then you could also tell a difference with the card stock too. Like the 1960s, it's a little bit more it has kind of like a linen finish to it. And the deck, the cardstock just feels a little bit different from the reprint. The reprint is a little bit thicker and it's kind of waxy feel. It's smooth, it's not glossy, except for the one that I got. The other one that I got was super like high gloss. I don't know if that's because it was an even more modern edition from the one that I have. So this one is still old. It's still an, you know, one of the older editions, but it's definitely not the original, like the first, like that first or second edition. I believe this is more of like the older ones, or the more modern ones. The other thing that she talks about in her video is with the King of Swords, when it is the uncopy, like when it's when it was with a different printer, or I don't know how she explains it. The King of Swords has a blemish in the sky that you could clearly see in those decks, and mine doesn't have it. So normally the blemish would be like, it's like off to the side here, and obviously mine is clean. He doesn't have a blemish. So that's kind of another telltale sign too, that that your deck is the original one and not the reprint of the US games. I hope I use the terminology correct. But regardless, it's still an Albano Waite. It's just not, you know, one of the oldies. So but yeah, so it's kind of nice to know now, like I'm not guessing anymore. Like it's nice to know that, okay, mine is, I'm still curious as to which edition I have, but I will never know because one, there's a mix of decks in here, a mix of cards, and two, I don't have the box, so I will never know which edition this deck is unless there is a telltale sign of, you know, you could just figure it out. But I don't know. I haven't seen enough Albano Waite videos out there to be able to tell. But it is a bummer. It is kind of a bummer, but at the same time, it's still one of those like decks that's hard to find, or it's pricey. Like when you look up an Albano Waite on eBay, they are pricey, and you can get the reprints right now cheap with an Amazon search, but I'm telling you, the cardstock is plastic. The cardstock is crap on those. It's just like when you buy the more modern Rider-Waite Smith decks that's like plasticky and super glossy. It's the same deal with the Albano Waite. So my deck is still older. I just don't know which edition it is. But it's definitely not like one of the first. It's definitely not one of the first. You could totally tell by the cardstock and the backs of those decks that like the older ones and the more newer ones. So I don't know. If anyone knows, pass the knowledge my way. I would love to know. But yeah, so that was just a little bit of something that I discovered with my Albano Waite. But yeah, and I have seen an original Waite in person. One of my old jobs, one of the ladies that used to work there, she actually had a tarot deck, and when she brought it to work, it was an Albano Waite, and hers, she had the box and everything, and it was just a glorious deck of just used, it was a used copy, and it had a lot of love in it, and it inspired me to pick up a copy of my own, but unfortunately, it's not like the oldie deck, right? So I don't know. I would love to know what version this one is. So if anyone has any information, please pass it my way. I would love to know. And if you guys own an Albano Waite, which edition do you have? And all of that. And it's a really fun deck, you guys. It's so cool. Like it just has just funky colors, and I mean, in your face colors, like blues and purples and oranges and all that wonderful stuff. So it's definitely a fun deck to have if you can get your hands on it. Oh, that's the other thing. The Fool and the Fool card in the 60s deck is, the legs are like more of an olive green, and my Fool is more of a lighter green. So there's like subtle differences, but if you're not into that stuff, you're not going to catch it. So anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. I just wanted to share with you my little discovery that I made. But I still love my deck. It's still special to me. So anyways, I'm going to call it my Frankenstein deck, like, because there's like little pieces of other, from an older version, and yeah, so it's my little Frankenstein deck. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.